Alright, well hello beautiful people. Welcome back to the Psychonaut podcast
We welcome you with open arms.
Yes, absolutely, and embrace tightly from this COVID lens.
Don't touch me though.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm not vaccinated yet.
Yeah,
So.
and I'm severely antisocial. I'll probably puke on you. Just saying. Just a warning.
Relatable.
Yeah, words of advice. Better watch out.
Yeah.
So yeah, now we're back. Finally getting at her again. Quite exciting.
Recording the second podcast for you wonderful people out there.
Segundo dose. It's time to, dose your fucking mind with a nice hard pill of reality, I guess, or something along those lines.
A nice smack of reality.
A nice smack. You gotta have a nice smack.
A smack of reality.
It'll do her. Yeah, a dose will do. I definitely agree. I agree with that completely.
Yes. Why don't we start off by telling a little bit more about ourselves, and then we'll get into the future of the podcast a little bit later in the episode.
Great idea.
Kind of start off pretty strong, and then give people the somewhat iffy stuff a little bit in the center.
Understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, you go for it, man.
Then we end on something good.
Gotta have it. Gotta have it.
But if you want to tell them how we met, because I was the new kid. You were the one pretty much approaching me at that point in high school.
That is true. Now I'm trying to think. Give me exactly what grade was it that you swapped over to Centerville?
9th, first year of high school.
9th grade.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's right. Let me think. I'm just coming out of being an asshole. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm still a fucking prick. But at this point in time, I had no filter. I mean, I was a complete just wreck. I was absolutely just going after as many people as I could. I wanted to fight people, and I wanted to yell at the teachers and just express how much of a dick I truly was.
Who didn't want to yell at the teachers, though?
Very true.
A lot of them kind of deserved it, but they didn't at the same time because, they're teachers teaching, a bunch of fucking people going through puberty to behave and do their homework when we're focused on, sex and drug experimentation,
Definitely a stressful time for both parties.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, no doubt. And I can definitely say I feel bad for the behaviors that I put towards my teachers. But most of them I can generally say I gave respect to, they respected me, and likewise the other.
See, that's why I don't apologize to them, because I was always quiet in class. I would say some smart-ass shit, but, in class I would just... sit there quietly for the most part, but if a teacher really got me mad, I'd start, going after it and shit like that. To me, it was more fun, but I don't know if I was more or less seeking attention in high school.
Oh, I definitely was. There's no denying that in my mind. With everything, going on at home in my life at that point in time, I was 100% seeking attention. I mean, you gotta have that approval from everybody, and, most people go through certain trials like that.
Yeah.
Anyways, but 9th grade... I would say I was going from peak asshole into actually having some empathy for other people and not being quite as psychopathic at that point in time. And I don't think, if I remember correctly, that we actually talked much in 9th grade.
We didn't.
Yeah, I think we did talk a little bit, a few different times.
But they were very sporadic conversations. It wasn't even a conversation. It was just a minute maybe of talking about random shit. We would ask each other a bunch of stupid questions between classes, and then we'd go sit down and shit.
Exactly, just fucking around, just basic, typical shit that you would talk about.
Yeah, I definitely thought when I first got there you were gonna be the troublemaker.
Yeah, oh, fuck. Yeah, I don't know.
Should I get involved with this kid or not, man? I don't know.
I don't know what would spell that out.
But he's the most normal one here.
Yeah, no shit. That's when you know you have a problem. Yeah, exactly. I do believe, though, when we really started talking was 10th grade. I don't remember what class it was we had together. I know Ness for sure. Ooh, we probably shouldn't say that name. Good thing she changed her name.
Did she?
Yeah, she got married.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe, no, I'm wrong, actually. Doesn't matter,
Bro, this is a show about, drugs, politics, and psychedelics, so...
True. We'll just try to avoid people's names, just for anonymity, but, I believe it was her class, though, that we really met, and then, going into the back of class before everything started, and we would really start to, have weird-ass conversations, and we started to know each other a little bit better.
But what, I remember really solidified our friendship was, the fact that I was in my dad's truck going down the road. We were going to a town, right? I'm not going to tell you the location.
No, motherfuckers.
No, you're not doxing us.
Yeah.
But No, so yeah, we were riding into town, right? And I see this weird motherfucker on the side of the road riding his bike to his house. And I was like, wait a minute, I've seen that kid at school before. So.
And I think it was shortly after that. I don't remember if you messaged me or I messaged you, or maybe we just mentioned it at school or something like that.
I think we either mentioned it at school or I messaged you.
I think so. It was something like that. But
I was like, dude, you live like right down the road from me. I was like, dude, do you live there?
That's right, yeah.
And then I proceeded to ride my hillbilly ass golf cart down to your house.
That is the moment that I really think of when I think like the base of our foundational friendship, because that's when we first went out and did some fucking illegal shit. You know what I mean? And like not.
You gotta have it in high school. You gotta have it in high school.
Absolutely, and I'm not gonna get into specifics. You know, statute of limitations and everything hasn't quite gone out yet. Well, actually, no, now it has, because weed's legal. So we were, I guess part of it wasn't trespassing, but should we cut that out?
Alex, you be the judge of that. If we should cut that out.
Yeah, it might be an awkward moment, but that's okay. We're fine with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, we were just driving around in your fucking camoed out golf cart.
Yeah, the golf cart. We got this golf cart. It's a Yamaha gas powered golf cart. You don't see a lot of gas powered anymore. It's all electric. Like if you go to any golf courses or anything like that. I sanded it, and it was like this maroon color, but it was already starting to chip really bad. And I didn't do that good of a job at sanding because it's also starting to chip now. But
it happens.
Yeah, but so yeah, I sanded that motherfucker down, and I went and got like 4 different types of spray paint, and got some white, brown, black, and green. You know, because I grew up in southern Michigan. That's all you get, southern Michigan.
Good enough.
And yeah, it was just a lot of woods, a lot of, you know, hillbilly shit going on. So
a lot of hicks.
I don't consider myself like, you know, I'm not gonna go fisting for catfish or anything like that.
I can't say I haven't been there. Yeah.
I'd try it.
Yeah, or crawdad. I've definitely done my fair share of crawdad.
I do some crawdad fishing.
Damn right.
But oh great. I hear PETA knocking on our YouTube door.
Ruh-roh.
Fuck them.
That's alright, yeah. We'll slaughter some more animals. Gotta set the precedence, everybody.
Alex, decide.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I spray painted the fuck out of that golf cart to make it look cool. I wanted to get it some beefed up tires, but I never got around to getting those. Just my car was eating me alive with the shit I had to get fixed on it at the time.
Understandable.
Yeah.
And honestly, I can still say either way, without the beefed up tires, it's still one of the coolest golf carts I've ever seen.
Dude, that motherfucker goes like 25, 30 miles an hour.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's absolutely insane. Oh, that's the other detail I remember too, is you had a bracelet pipe. Do you remember that? Because that's what we smoked out of for the first time. Because we're like, hey, bro, you know, like, we live just down the road from each other. Let's get together and smoke. And why not, you know? So, of course, we did. And it was great. That was a fun-ass time. And honestly, I don't remember much immediately right after that, like, hanging out much. But I do remember, like, the following summers, it just fucking hanging out all the time.
Oh,
yeah.
So, like, right after that, we were pretty much seeing each other a lot more. First time I brought you over to my house, my dad didn't know we were coming home, right?
Yeah.
So we opened the door, and he's like, "What the fuck?" He didn't know I was coming back right away, so like we're just opening the door as 2 people are talking. He didn't expect me to come back with anyone. So
out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, out in the middle of nowhere. So. Like, I immediately turned around, shut the door, and I'm like, yeah, let's just go back to your house, man.
I do believe, though, once I finally, like, actually met and talked to your dad.
Oh, yeah.
Because we didn't necessarily know each other, but we'd interacted, we'd kind of seen each other at a certain martial arts school, you know, so we would, like, kind of see each other, but we didn't really know each other. But I think where me and him kind of got off is that you were already friends with Gunner.
Yeah.
Which I feel like is safe to say because he'll probably come on the podcast at some
point. I do want to invite him on here a few times.
Absolutely, yeah.
Want to talk about his guitar and shit.
Oh, dude, all of his guitars, he got some insane, fucking beautiful guitars.
We'll save that for a strictly music episode.
Good idea, good idea. But yeah, I think that's how me and your dad actually kind of like started to talk a little bit more because he'd known Gunnar also, and you were good friends with him at that point in time. And
Yeah, I was in a band with him at that time. I was bassist.
oh, see, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I forgot that was like the heat of your guys' band.
Yeah, like that was. I never learned how to play bass, so I'm not even like pulling my own horn here. Like I sucked as a bass player. Don't contact me for bass playing.
Yeah, but I would say you were definitely decent to a degree. Like at a novice level, you
I was
definitely
corn level. I was corn level.
much better than anything I could have done.
I would say I could have like undone those strings a lot more and gotten like that slappy sound to them, kind of like you hear in Coming Undone.
Okay, yeah. See, that would have been pretty dope actually, and I was so disappointed too once I finally found out you sold that bass.
Yeah.
I was like, damn. I'll get one sometime though.
I'm getting a PA system when my tax is coming though.
Oh, badass!
A PA
actually.
system and a few cymbals for the drum set we have, and I'm gonna try to start learning drums so we can incorporate the music more easy, because right now we just have two guitarists. Bass player is busy until summer, so he's not technically in the band right now. But yep, so for right now I'm doing vocals, but they want me to learn how to do drums for the time being until we find a drummer, just because we don't have anyone. It's really hard to use unlicensed music because there's no creativity in that. You're just finding something on YouTube and you're putting music to it.
Exactly. No, I understand that as well. Now you said you have two guitarists now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I won't say the other one's name just because I'm not sure if he'll ever be on here, and I don't know how much his name wants to be, but he's a damn good guitarist.
Nice.
Like,
You'll have to let me know afterwards.
Like, I get the same feeling of watching, like, him and Gunnar, they're both, like, damn good. Like, Gunnar can try to teach him some things, right? And he'll teach Gunnar some things.
Oh, okay, so they're kind of on the same level then, eh?
Yeah. But the other guitarist plays a lot faster and more, like, complicated, it seems. It's not complicated to Gunnar, but it's like, it was like I was looking through the lens of his eyes when he was trying to teach me how to play bass, when the other guitarist is trying to show him a really intricate riff that he wrote. I get such a kick out of it. But I know he'll get it.
Exactly.
Like, he's a damn good guitarist. He just, new riffs, trying to learn new riffs is always going to be hard for a minute.
Completely.
Yeah.
Now, my only other question with that, too, is are you guys going to have, like, both of them kind of swapping between rhythm and lead? Are you going to have one
We're not
designated
sure
for each, or a little bit of both?
I think they're going to be swapping, but nothing's been set in stone yet. So, if Gunnar, you're watching this, or if other guitarists, you can tell me if you want your name set on this. Not sure if you give me permission, but yeah, we have to still decide on who's doing what, but I think it's going to be more of a switch because they're both really good.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
And now you mentioned the bassist also.
Yeah.
And I think, is it one of the people you guys were talking about when I was still messing around? Okay, yeah. Alright, makes sense. That's cool. But hell yeah. That is actually really interesting. I definitely want to come and watch you guys practice. I'll come out and fuck around a little bit more too whenever I get some time. But I know.
Honestly, after I get my taxes, we're going to finish getting the cymbals and a couple more stands we need, but then we'll be solid.
Oh, nice. Badass, actually.
I need to go over to the store tomorrow and get a new head for the snare, because the snare was all fucking dented into, so gotta get a new one of those.
Makes sense.
But anyway.
I was gonna say, I'm gonna track back a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it.
To us and like our foundation, our friends and everything. So obviously, went through graduation and all that shit as well, which that's a story for another time. I would say we could almost make a podcast out of that. I don't know if I necessarily even want to. I think we should, just for the honesty lesson or part of it, but I don't know, there's some information that we can definitely conceal for now. But then we had, graduation, we got through graduation and all that, and then I went off to college, but every time I would come back, you were literally like one of two people that I would ever hit up, honestly. And
this motherfucker drove in the middle of the worst snowstorm all the way from the UP to the very southern point of Michigan. And the first place he stopped was my house when he got back on, his second trip back home.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, because that was in the middle of December, some shit like that. So yeah, that was good.
That was honestly so perfect now that I think about it. I was high as shit. Oh no, I guess we gotta be honest about that. Who cares? We're not gonna cut that out. It's gonna come up from time to time anyways. But yeah, I came through and fucking burned down, man. That was funny as hell, and I was so tired. Where I was going to school is Northern Michigan, up in Marquette, Michigan. Absolute beautiful school. I love it. The program I was in is medicinal plant chemistry, and we can get into that some other time as well. But yeah, it was such a crazy drive, and I would do it by myself, and it was honestly so much fun. It really was.
Oh, yeah.
I really
long
do.
road trips.
Oh yeah,
like, even if they're not long, because you know, if you do a lone road trip by yourself, like across country, it can be awesome. Like, don't get me wrong, but you know, coming from someone who's never done it, but
you've gone farther than me by yourself.
Yeah,
to New York.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah.
That was a great trip though. But that'll also be for another podcast, just because there's so much to unpack with that story and how it went. But Alex, hold on.
Solo road trips.
Road trip.
Yep.
So solo road trips sound awesome, but it's like after like a few days, I would think it would get really boring, kind of lonely and shit. But you know, that depends on the person.
I agree. I do definitely agree with that, and I think that also plays into the experience of it as well. Now this gets me into something. Oh, I gotta stop rattling that so much. This gets me into something I've recently been reading about. As you know, I love reading as much as possible, and I love like the '60s, the hippies generation, and the generation before that, the beatniks that led up into the hippies, and the bohemians before them. You know, that led into all of that, and one of the ones, a beatnik author and poet, is Jack Kerouac. I'm sure you've heard his name somewhere before.
I feel like you've told me about him, but I don't know authors that well.
And he is just another, like, I would say late 50s, maybe even early 50s through like the 60s and 70s author.
Yeah.
His biggest novel is On the Road, and it's a book about, you know, traveling and going by yourself and just going off the beaten path and doing all this stuff. It actually ties in with like what's his name, Neil Cassidy and Ken Kesey and the Merry Pranksters and their painted hippie bus. Maybe in time when we can get some visuals to throw into the video, we can bring that up. But yeah, so it ties in with that and everything, and it just talks about his adventures and just going out and doing it, which is something that actually heavily inspires me. And I've been thinking about that quite a lot, actually, is saving up some money. Guess I shouldn't necessarily put my plans out there like this, but I possibly might have to quit my job to get the time to do it at some point in time, you know what I mean? And just going for it, just going and taking a long-ass trip by myself. I really would love the idea of it.
I feel like I'm going to need it at some point.
Oh, definitely. I agree. I think it's something that everybody needs at some point.
Oh, yeah. Because, you know, it's one thing to travel within the continental United States, Canada, and shit like that. But where you get, like, the real world experience, the culture, is, like, traveling to other countries and staying there for, like, maybe a week or a month. I mean, I know not everyone can afford to do that. But if you're, you know, willing to go as cheap as possible, like if you want to go camping over in those countries so you can travel the next day like that, like, you know, make a continental camping trip across Europe, that'd be amazing.
Absolutely, man. I completely agree with that. And to anybody that's, I mean, thought about it, or, you know, if it crosses your mind from time to time, just entertain the idea. You know, might as well. That's something that I definitely do, and I drive myself crazy with, you know, certain fantasies, places I want to travel, and experiences I want to have, and things I want to do. Of course, everybody does. Again, it's a normal human thing to do, but definitely got to act on it at some point in time. I haven't necessarily. I did kind of when I went to college. You know, I wanted to go really far away because I wanted to get away and like just have that type of adventure, that experience, and I did get a good ways away, but even that was still, like you said, in the continental U.S., you know what I mean? I really want to get out and immerse myself into the real culture. Abroad. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And really experience the real universality behind, not just necessarily humanity, but hospitality and everything, cross-cultural values and everything.
If you could go to any, like, if you could only go to 5 countries.
Okay, that's easier.
5 countries, where would you go?
Peru, Egypt, India, Italy and Greece.
Italy and Greece.
That's tough. That's tough for me, but because I love Greek mythology so much, and Italy because of the Vatican and Roman history and all that, and then Peru because of the megalithic structures and ayahuasca and things along those lines, and Egypt because it's Egypt.
Yeah,
Same with India.
You have to see Egypt at some point.
Like, absolutely.
If you turn into a world traveler, like, not saying that I'll ever be one. Who knows? I might never leave this fucking state.
True.
But you know, if you turn into a world traveler and you have the resources to go there, you should totally go to Egypt. I'm saying this like I've been there, like, oh my God,
yeah,
God,
exactly.
Go to Egypt. It's so good.
Yeah, same,
but,
same.
No, I'd love to explore it, like, because you'll never know the scale. Just like the Grand Canyon, you can't appreciate its scale in a photo. You have to be there under it. You have to be under the Great Sphinx to truly know how massive it is. And you know, the fact that they were put there by aliens. But
oh, of course, yeah, everybody knows that. Come on. Yeah.
Perfect alignment with the Northern Star. Yeah.
Yeah, and
perfect dimensions on all sides.
Yeah, it's so many things. And again, I'm slightly talking out of my ass here.
Me too.
Like typical. But one of the other things that I've heard from, I believe, Graham Hancock, maybe it was actually, what's that guy's name? Secret Teaching. I don't know, I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but I think it was Graham Hancock. One of the things I'd heard him talking about was the fact that the height of the pyramid is like a perfect, like a quarter of the height of our atmosphere or some shit like that. Like it's literally a perfect building block to figure out the dimensions of our atmosphere, which is insane. That makes no sense.
It is fucking crazy. Like you can, you know, do all the research yourself and look at all the amazing stuff about Egypt and how, you know, like I said, all the sides are exactly the same length, or at least to like the closest millimeter or something like that. Like I said, I'm talking out of my ass. I'm just trying to give you what I remember. But every side is perfect. The angle is perfect, and the placement of all the pyramids, like in Egypt, are perfect to align with certain stars. And it's just crazy. It's like their first compass, in a way.
Exactly. It's absolutely insane. And
it's like an astrological compass.
Exactly.
It's weird, but it's awesome.
It really is, though. And the thing that's even crazier to me is the fact that not only is that in Egypt, but that pops up all over the world. And there's many different things that are occurrences and parallels between all of them. I mean, you've got these giant-ass megalithic structures that pop out of nowhere. You've got
a lot in South America.
Yeah, a lot in South America.
Central and South America, a little bit.
Crazy fact, most people don't know, the largest pyramid in the world is actually in Mexico.
Really?
It's not in Giza, yeah.
I think I have heard that, but I can't remember. You might have told me that.
But yeah, it's a crazy fact, and I didn't really believe it at first, but it's the tallest in the world are at Giza, but the largest in the world is in Mexico, which is crazy. I mean, you'd never know that, but you've got these sites littered throughout South America, you know, Mexico, Peru, everywhere down there, Brazil, Argentina, all throughout the lands in South America, even in Northern America, just not as large of a scale.
And I have no doubt in my mind that slave labor was like a giant thing that was used to construct the pyramids. But if it was slave labor that constructed those pyramids, they were instructed by a mastermind mathematician and architect. Like, those pyramids were built by someone who loved what they were doing.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, yeah, they were probably like forced to make them, but they were people who, in my opinion, and from what I remember, they were the ones who wanted it to be like that. Like, they got like the best of the time that they could get.
They knew they were making something that was gonna last. That's for sure, and something perfect mathematically.
Those architects are proud.
Oh, absolutely, like, they're not turning over in their graves.
No, they are not.
They are beating off. That's for certain. And that's the other thing. You know, that's how would I put it? Our arrogance in our scientific world and our advanced world that we live in at this point in time, you know, as advanced as we seem to think we are, we like to, like you have the arrogance of thinking that other people around you are obviously much dumber than you, and you see that especially in the political realm right now. Oh, they're just ignorant, you know, it's so easy to just pass off as people are just stupid, and that's how we treat the ancestors, you know, the people before us is, oh, well, there's no way they were smart enough to build that. And it's like, That's so ignorant from so many perspectives. I mean, you look at
really
the Sumerians. Yeah, exactly.
Like just because you're not finding like 7,000-year-old cell phone towers doesn't mean for the time that they were alive they weren't like the smartest people on the face of the fucking planet.
Oh, absolutely. And who's to say they didn't evolve past the point that we're at, where they were actually have a truly integrated society with the earth and with nature, with the environment. You know,
ancient civilizations.
Hands down. And cut that out. It's just my laugh. But where was I going with that? Oh, yeah. But yeah, like the Sumerians, for one thing, the Sumerians were absolutely intelligent. They had so much math that they've invented that they knew of at that point in time. And how would I put it? There's pockets of novelty and intelligence that we stumble across from time to time. The Sumerians were the first ones to have a heliocentric model of the universe, which means that our galaxy and everything revolves around the sun instead of everything revolving around the earth. They knew this, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years before. It actually wasn't Galileo. Who is it? Who am I thinking of?
Copernicus?
Copernicus. Beautiful. Absolutely. I love it, man. Yes, Copernicus. Before he came along. But this is thousands of years before him.
Yeah.
And you had the Catholic churches literally crucifying people over this type of stuff. And not literally crucifying, but crucifying them subjectively. And
making them martyrs.
Exactly. Going after all of these people and doing so many different things. And it's absolutely insane just to think about the fact that they'd already stumbled upon that knowledge. They'd already stumbled upon these mathematics. And the same thing with the Egyptians. I mean, don't get me wrong. Ancient Aliens has a lot of good hypotheses. They really do.
It does. Like, they're not saying, trying to think. The Mississippi Ark is a Missouri Ark.
Oh, okay.
They're not saying that was built by aliens. They're not saying the Empire State Building was built by aliens or anything else. Or the Eiffel Tower.
Exactly.
They don't say that was built by aliens. But just because we don't know for sure, like, who made them, right, is enough for us to be like, yeah, it must have been aliens, not the actual Egyptians.
Exactly.
And it's kind of fucked up in a way. Like, I do get a lot of the hypotheses that they have. Like, it is interesting, but it's also the fact that it's like, man, you guys are really just trying to give aliens and white people credit everywhere, aren't you?
It is. It really does come down to that. And a lot of it really is the factor of the arrogance coming from that. It really, and we all have that, especially in modern times.
Like how we all had the picture of the white pharaoh in our history books as kids.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, Jesus Christ being a white dude in the movies.
Yeah, I guess.
Not a traditional Muslim man.
He's supposed to be modeled after, like, one of the Borgios, who was one of the classes that took over Rome back in, I don't know, the 1700s or something.
That doesn't shock me at all, because the Catholic Church.
Exactly.
They took over the fucking world for a period. They still kind of have a grasp on the world, but everyone's seeing through their netted bullshit.
Exactly. Actually, the Borgios are the ones that you fight in the Ezio trilogy, which is pretty cool.
I'm pretty
nice
sure you're still kind of. Oh no, that's just the Knights Templars, like, because they're not still the Borgia after you leave Rome. I don't think they're still Knights Templar.
Okay. I don't know if I beat all the way through that trilogy or not. Honestly,
oh, dude, it's a great trilogy.
I need to get through it. But it does though. It applies back into our arrogance. It truly does, and it is interesting to look at the fact and the parallelisms across the world of all of these ancient people that came together to do these things. And there's also the ley lines, which is another insane thing that seems to appear. These energy grids that somehow span across the earth, and now all of these megalithic structures and sites happen to land right on these lines. And it's the same thing with the mathematical alignments and the astrological alignments and everything. It's absolutely
See, that's
insane.
the stuff that also makes me think, I do want to give credit to the actual builders, but these are some pretty, like, good hypotheses that I'm hearing from ancient aliens, and it's like, man, we'll never know.
Exactly.
Like, we can definitely assume it was the people that built it, but no one in modern day knows.
And we never really will. I mean, we can gather as much evidence as we can and try and research.
Unless something comes from the sky at some point in our lives and be like, yeah, we built those. Fuck the Egyptians. Like,
which, I mean, that'd be pretty sweet too, let's be honest.
It would be.
Kind of, maybe, yeah.
Well, yeah, depending on their intentions. But Yeah, I think it'd be pretty cool if that were to happen, but until that point, I'm still giving credit to the ancient Egyptians for it.
Oh yeah, hands down.
And the ancient Mayans and Aztecs, and all of the ancient sites like Stonehenge and shit that ancient aliens gives credit to the aliens for. I'm gonna, until aliens are proven, I'm gonna assume it was just the people of the time being advanced as fuck for their time.
Oh yeah, hands down, and I completely agree with that. And there's 2 points I want to make. For one, the fact that what Graham Hancock says is that we're just a species with amnesia, and I love that so much. Anybody who doesn't know who Graham Hancock is, please go and look him up, because I personally believe, has, at least that I know of, one of the closest theories to explaining the actual foundations. And he doesn't even necessarily have a theory. He throws out ideas, because he's pointing at, archaeologists and paleontologists and the other ones. I can't remember.
The other ones.
Yeah, and the other ones.
Paleontologists?
They study cultures and the development of cultures. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Anthropologists.
Oh, okay.
The anthropologists. They all keep coming out with so much of this evidence coming from every different direction of things that are pushing these dates to so much more ancient dates than what we realize, and we have all of the mainstream theorists that are just pushing it off. Oh, well, we don't understand it, so we're not even going to accept it.
It's God.
Exactly. That's another bad problem. Yeah, that's another bad problem.
Don't get me wrong, I respect your religion.
Same.
I will never give you shit for believing in God or Buddha or Allah. I will never do it. But organized religion can go fuck itself.
Yeah.
Because they only thrive on profit, and they're only around for your money.
Yep, I agree with that completely. And I'm more of a theist, more maybe agnostic, I guess I would say. I tread all the lines.
I get that. I can't even call myself a full Levian Satanist at some points, because I'm always wondering, what if there is a God? So in that realm, I am agnostic. And what if there's, all the gods are real? Then I'm what is that? Theist?
A theist, yeah. Theist, yeah.
Is that theism?
Yeah.
I would say I know monotheism is the one God, and I can't remember the one for multiple gods.
Polytheism.
Polytheist. I'm kind of like a mix between Levian Satanist, polytheist, and an agnostic, all wrapped into one fucking bundle of hate.
Which is, essentially where I'm at. So yeah, in the bundle of hate. I love that, actually. That's somewhere along the lines of where I'm at also. I love listening to the atheistic philosophies, Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens and Sam Harris and all these people, and they present wonderful ideas. They really do. But just for me, because one of my main interests, a huge interest of mine, has always been mythology and diving into these ancient sacred texts. The Tao Te Ching, the Holy Bible, the Quran, the Vedas, the Bhagavad Gita, all of these different religious and spiritual texts, and I love going through them. I always have, and to me, it's a question that'll never be answered. Nobody's gonna know, truthfully. I mean, and that's obviously, everybody knows that to some degree, that nobody knows the answer, as much as you want to have your faith. That's why it's faith. It's a belief, but
don't go and always say my God is right. I cannot stand that.
That's definitely
that. I will chastise people for that. If you are 100% certain that your God is the only God out of the thousands and thousands of gods and all of the religions calling bullshit on each other. Who knows? Don't be so full of yourself and live life. That's what it's meant to be. Enjoy yourself. Levian Satanism forever.
Damn right. Sometimes. But that's one thing with getting back into ancient aliens, is that the way I've always seen it is you gotta weed through the bullshit. You really do.
Yeah.
Because they present really good hypotheses, a really good idea, really good theories, but there's obviously bullshit if you watch the show. But they're hard facts, the tried and true things that they point towards, is very interesting. They present a really good idea. Eric von Daniken, who's the guy that really started the whole thing, he wrote the book Chariots of the Gods. That book, which I got from my dad, is really good, and I really love the things that they point towards and the evidence they have and the theories that he presents. But they go a little wacky, Yeah, they definitely do. There's no denying that.
Speaking of books that are a little wacky, wasn't there a book that you had in your house that you didn't want to read?
I'm trying to think.
It was the Cthulhu book, I think.
Oh, yeah, back in the day. Yeah, my dad had me convinced that the Necronomicon was a bad book, which there are different Necronomicons, and I would like to actually read all of them because the Necronomicon used to be like a... What's the word for it? There's a specific word for books of magic, like high magic, not like Harry Houdini magic, but like ceremonial magic.
Yeah.
There's specific names for the books, and I can't think of them off the top of my head. But the original Necronomicons was like a book like that. But the Necronomicon written by H.P. Lovecraft is a fiction novel.
Yeah.
But everybody passes it off and says it's real because he wrote it to be that way. But it is a fiction novel. And so my dad must have read it at some point in time and thought like, oh shit, this is some I stumbled onto some crazy answers or something like that. So I always thought like, oh, this is a bad book, you know, and I never read it, but I do want to order it and read it. I have a few Lovecraft books, but I don't have that one quite yet.
I can't remember the one Lovecraft book I have. I only got one, but it's like all of the poetry and stuff.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah.
Actually, you'll have to show me that when I come over. Oh, I like that. One of my favorites of his is The Mountains of Madness.
Yeah, I have that one.
Oh, see, that's a good book. I love it.
It's The Mountain of Madness, and I think it has like poetry sections in it that's separate from the book, I think. I'll have to look at it again. Maybe that's a separate book I have by him. I can't remember.
Okay, I hear you. Yeah, Lovecraft has some good shit. At this point, I'm kind of losing my train of thought just because I don't even really know where to go, but not in a bad way. Like I'm trying to just think.
We're just kind of cycling through here.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, again, we're still getting the rhythm down. We're getting everything figured out. You know, we're trying to go through and be able to keep this up consistently. And I've noticed one of my big things is going to be keeping my train of thought.
Me too.
Which that's always been a problem. You know, in general, just speaking with people.
It's been a problem since high school.
Yeah. Exactly. It has. It really has.
Say high school is when I stopped caring, and I'm just like going through like a zombie, like.
I'm here. I'm here, man.
Yeah, I'm here.
We're alive, bro. We're getting her done.
But I guess if we want to take a break from like the more serious subjects, we can talk about the podcast and like where we plan on going with it and stuff like that.
I would say a good one or a good announcement we could make. I'm not necessarily creating it tonight. Oh, we still got a couple days before this comes out anyways.
Yeah.
But the social media, we're going to be getting on social media if you guys want to follow us on there.
Yeah, share with your friends. It'd be easier than, you know, showing our scandalous videos to your family.
Damn right.
Posting it on your Facebooks.
Exactly. So I think that'd be, you know, one good direction.
We'll probably have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, but, you know, we're only going to be making posts on there, even if it's just a few people. We're probably not going to be responding at all. Like, I know we're not that big enough, you know, to warrant a social media account yet, but, you know, just in case, it's there. And it's different ways to share, follow, and support.
Exactly. And the way I see it is, like you said, we're really not big enough for it, and I don't even know if anybody cares that much to follow. If you do, please do. You're beautiful.
Patreon coming soon.
Hey, no, I'm kidding. Maybe, but either way, I see it as a way to expand the brand, really, and it'll help us build up even more and, you know, engage in that way, which will be another nice thing that'll help out quite a bit, I believe.
That's why I want to do I actually do want to do a Patreon at some point, like when we get like more subscribers, because you know, we're not gonna beat around the bush. That's what I was looking for. You know, we'd rather have this be our full-time job. So if we can get, you know, support for people or from people, if they can, like, you know, throw us on Patreon, support our work, and then we can focus on delivering better content for you guys.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the other thing too, actually. This would be a good point to mention this. I don't think we did say anything about it in the last one. Obviously, we're starting with the podcast. This is like the main goal, the main thing that we're going to upkeep on. But, you know, if we do get the freedom at some point in time to actually make more videos, then we're definitely going to branch out and have like little subsections of the channel. You know, maybe we'll have another thing we're doing together, or maybe we'll have...
That's what playlists are for on the channel. If we want to keep it on the channel and keep everything connected, we can just make playlists.
That is a great idea, actually. There we go. Even better.
Yeah.
And then that'd just be another way, you know, we could, like I said, have like projects together and then even separate projects.
Yeah, separate projects.
Yeah, because obviously we're both individuals and have our own interests that dive off into certain directions, even as much as we're probably mostly interested in some of the same things, and they all obviously overlap. But like, I might do a fucking book review. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why not? Like, I think that'd be so cool. I love books, so why the fuck not?
Oh, you know how I said I was gonna start learning drums? Battle coming soon.
Oh shit, I ain't that good, bro. Nah.
I've never touched the drums.
Yeah, true. I'm down with it though. That sounds fun.
It would be fun.
Even if we completely make fools out of ourselves,
yeah.
that'd be so hilarious. That'd be so much fun. I'm down.
It would be fucking awesome. Just fuck around, you know. Put content out there, make some people laugh, put some smiles out there.
Exactly.
So.
Damn right. And then same thing too. Like anything that you guys create. Oh, you might even do that separately. I think that'd be a better idea. Like with your band and everything. I'm sure you guys will have your own whatever you're gonna.
I might plug it on here though.
Definitely plug it.
And plug your shit too, man. Like that's what playlists are for. If like we'll have like, you know, if you ever started like doing book reviews, you'd have a section for, you know, Vlad's book reviews, stuff like that. Dalton's band, or, you know, like I said, that could be a separate page. It doesn't really matter to me.
Travel blog coming soon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, heading to Egypt, like we're saying. Yeah, listen, guys. No, I wish.
Support our Patreon.
Yeah, support our Patreon. Yeah, maybe. Buy my drugs.
Yeah, Alex, put our non-existent Patreon name on the screen right here.
Yeah. Just imagine, folks.
Yeah, just imagine. You can actually not follow this link and not donate money because it doesn't exist.
Exactly. Maybe one day, though. Yeah, maybe one day.
Maybe one day. We'll get past a few hundred subscribers. If we keep going, if we're that good and we warrant a few hundred, then we'll probably throw up a Patreon just to have some side support there. Because, you know, these videos get age restricted, so we're not going to be making a lot of ad revenue itself from YouTube, but I also don't like asking for people that I know are watching this for money.
That's my biggest problem. Yeah, I agree.
But, if random people want to donate and stuff, that's cool.
Exactly. And honestly, I gotta say, not trying to be cocky or arrogant in any way. That's definitely not how I want to come off. But I would say we're doing decent. I wouldn't say we're doing great. We're doing good. You know, we're getting there.
I mean, yeah, we're losing our plays a lot, so we're not doing like fantastic.
That's
we're doing pretty decent.
Exactly, and that's part of my thing too. Is like I noticed there's still a few like awkward things that I'm doing because you got to get used to it. It's weird. It's weird balancing the camera into the conversation. Trying to pay attention over here and then pay attention to you, and like. I always do weird shit with my face anyways, so that feels odd, and I feel like it's intensified by like 1,000 as I'm watching these people and I'm doing weird shit, you know what I mean? I'm like little weird nuantical things, but
I'll say just do the secret I do. Like if I'm talking, I look at you and then the camera for the most part, but if I'm listening, I just look straight at you. I don't even pay attention to the camera.
That's smart. Yeah, exactly.
Because then, like, they're talking to both of you. Like, you're talking to the other person and them. And then the other person's actually listening so we can keep the conversation going.
There we go. See, exactly. And the way I see it is this is going to be the way of getting the rhythm down, getting the structure and everything down so we can keep everything going back just perfect. And I really do think... Yeah, we're losing our track a little bit. You know, you got to use certain things to get over the nerves, and over time that'll die down. And, and obviously,
I personally think this one's so much easier though. Like I didn't come in here with like high anxiety. I'm just like, what's up, man?
I'm still anxious.
Yeah, I am too.
But like a typical level anxious. I definitely wasn't as bad. I wasn't pondering it as bad all day long. You know what I mean? And at first. Like right when we started talking, I still had my like heavy breaths, you know what I mean? Kind of like getting into that a little bit, and like the awkward, like okay, what am I speaking about? And then like it subsides as you get into it. Like the further you go, then you start to get into your rhythm. And you're speaking, and you know both of us are going at it, and everything's happening, and then it works. It flows a bit better, but. It is that, what I've noticed, that initial, like, starting off where it's like,
Yeah, we don't know how to greet you guys yet. It's like, hey guys, or welcome back. Like, we're finding it.
Or just some random ass shit. Like, you know what? Fuck you, bro. You fucking piece of shit. I hate you so motherfucker. Hello, everybody.
Okay.
Like, like, don't quite know that.
Have a tear going down my face. Like,
I love you guys. You're beautiful.
Send help.
Not that bad.
Nah.
Yeah, give me time.
Yeah. Give it a few thousand subscribers.
Yeah, give it a few thousand, exactly. That'll be like Ellen. I'll be just like Ellen. I'll be on here fucking treating everybody like shit.
Oh god, here comes those lawsuits.
Yeah. Oh, it's funny.
Dude, like I said, it's so much easier this time. This 50 minutes we've been talking it's gone by so much easier. It
That's
feels
true.
a lot more natural.
It honestly feels like 20 minutes has gone by.
Yeah, we've stuffed a lot of conversation into 15 minutes just now.
Oh yeah, we were definitely hitting some fine points, and obviously we're going at it and lost our place a few times, so we didn't necessarily finish our ideas, and that's a big thing. Also, this is part of the reason, like I said, trying to find the message and trying to find our voice and our way of doing everything. I feel like in time, you'd actually mentioned it on the last podcast, talking, with your family and friends and certain things. Sometimes you can't get your ideas out all the way.
Yeah.
Or at least you can't get your point across the way that you want to. And
can't word it right, or you're worried about the audience. You're trying to project it too.
Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely another problem because you're trying to keep it entertaining too. So you're trying to fill in certain things and trying to be funny. And I'm not funny. I mean, I think you're honestly funnier than I am. I'm not funny.
I don't think I'm that funny at all.
I don't either. And I don't think I'm smart in any way. And we're trying to throw out stuff that's some certain educated topics.
I don't think I'm funny. I think I'm a dick.
I agree. Me too. Actually, yeah, damn right, Dick Club. Yeah. But I think as time progresses, it's going to be a lot easier for us to get that whole argument out, get our whole side out and everything. Because as I'd mentioned in the last one too, it's getting to figure out the message. So we're expressing our thoughts to each other and you at the same time as figuring out our thoughts and collecting and reorganizing everything in a uniform manner that objectively works logically, and being able to get that out. And it's stringing everything together in the proper way, keeping that train of thought, and getting out that ideas. And this is why I would say I really love speaking. I love really good orators, people with great linguistic capabilities. I mean, Noam Chomsky, Terrence McKenna, amazing speaker, Jordan Peterson, Alan Watts, people like that. Obviously, those are influences of mine. And just the fact of how they can get their opinions and everything out, and the way that they speak is so beautiful, and they get you into this cadence and this rhythm in a way that it sucks you in, and I want to be able to get to that point. I hope that we can.
It'll come with time.
Yeah,
I think it'll come with time.
I definitely believe that, yeah, with practice and everything, it'll certainly come, but that's the one thing. As much as I love speaking, and as I've told you a million times, I've always told everybody, if I'm ever going to get famous or anything like that, which I don't seek fame, I think that's such a low virtuous thing to go for, but if I'm ever going to get famous for anything or make money doing anything besides grueling slave work in the factories, it's going to be by speaking. I mean, really, it is. And I'll finish. I'm sorry, I'm rambling.
You're good.
But
dead air is bad, so keep going.
Damn right. And that's the reason why, as much as I love speaking and being an orator and practicing linguistic capabilities and things along those lines, that's why I love to write. I love to speak because you can get so much more emotion and sarcasm and certain things into your words, but writing it down, you can truly just go through and pick out a word, or a sentence, and just pick and choose the words and put exactly what you want to say into it. Obviously, the meaning is still skewed, because it's art at that point in time. You're throwing it out into the world, so everybody's going to have their own interpretation, just like they are with this. But with writing, at least for me personally, I feel like it's a much more distinct way of me getting across my point exactly how I mean it.
Yeah.
Because even here, you stumble a bit to get to what you're saying.
I think you could be a good author, though.
I would love to try. I'll show you some more of my works.
I would say you should definitely try out. Even if it's like a small, 30-page book, I think you should try it.
I've definitely been doing it. I write more poetry because I have been trying to write more lengthy things lately, just to practice it and get back into the rhythm, because I haven't really written much since college.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to practice a bit more. I do write more poetry because it hits me more, and you know my depressed mindset when I'm all but I'm gonna write me some freaking Charles Bukowski. I'm gonna write me some Edgar Allan Poe, some Khalil Gibran or something like that. And it obviously comes out as mopey, terrible, desperate, teenage-looking writing.
Teenage angst.
Exactly, that's what it seems to come down to.
Like that. That's one of the problems with me and songwriting, because I'll try to write for metal, the band I'm in. It's really lyrics can be really easy or really hard. And it depends on like how you want yourself to sound.
Exactly.
And you know, every band has their mix. Like Cannibal Corpse, like they just have their gut wrenching sound. I love Cannibal Corpse, but they just have their like gut wrenching sound of like, you know, always talking about murder and shit like that.
Yeah.
And
hyperbole.
Yeah, hyperbole. But you know, then it's other bands like Whitechapel. They have songs like "When a Demon Defiles a Witch." It has so much meaning and power behind it. Or "Black Bear" by them.
My favorite of theirs, You Showed Me. It's not theirs, it's a cover, but Avalanche. It's a Leonard Cohen song. You showed it to me, and I love that version of it.
Yeah.
They did such a good job. I didn't mean to interrupt you,
No,
but I
you're
had to
good.
throw that out there.
I love the Ghost version of that. Like.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of. Not
yes.
Whitechapel Ghost. I don't know why that clicked in my head like that. But
Yeah,
them,
they're completely absent.
Yeah, I know. I don't know why it clicked like that, but yeah, You Showed Me that, and dude, I love that song so much.
Yeah, Ghost did an amazing cover of that song, Avalanche, and I think everyone should listen to it. Even, you know, if you're a metal elitist, like a lot of people I know, go give Ghost a try. They're really theatrical, and their music is just really smooth, and I love it. They're like, you know, theatrical, satanic, but it's nothing like hard metal, like you would assume. Like, it's nothing screaming or gutturals or anything like that. It's like you're watching an opera, and it's fucking beautiful.
And that's
I saw them live. I saw them live, and
oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they put on an amazing show, and I think they're Swedish. Yeah, yeah, they're Swedish.
Sweetest.
Yeah, Swedish.
Sweetest.
Yeah, they're a Swedish band, and I think they're amazing.
I was gonna say, because that's what surprised me a lot, because obviously that was still in my beginning stages of like, obviously Metallica and System of a Down. I'd always been a fan. I mean, since I was a child, my parents would play that, but I never got heavier than System of a Down. And you know, you were pressing me into those boundaries and everything, and that was one that you showed me, and I was really taken aback, and I was surprised by how much I liked it. Just the melody and the lyrics and everything.
Yeah,
I mean, the lyrics were Leonard Cohen, but still.
I think it's dude, like even the song "He Is" or "Year Zero." Oh, "Year Zero" is so good.
I'll have to listen to it. Going back to writing though, I can honestly say you were actually one of my biggest inspirations into writing myself. Because as you know, I've been reading forever and I love to read, and you know that kind of helped with my vocabulary a little bit, you know, and all that. And I'd always thought, and I'd always imagined the thought and fancied around with it of writing poetry or novels, you know, something like that. But I'd always thought of it personally as like, oh, I can't write. You know, it's the same thing that you lock yourself into the box of, I can't do math. I mean, you can. You know, you just got to work at it. It's the same thing with writing. I'd never been good at writing in school because I never put any effort into it. Because
it's weird. Sorry to interrupt.
No. I was just gonna say the only reason I never did is because I was always afraid of actually putting my heart into something and then it being bad, and I can't. I had that fear of rejection. So
That's why I never really showed mine to a lot of people. I'd ask a couple people for advice, like, "Hey man, what do you think of this?" And you know, I get the concern. Yeah, that's good.
yeah, exactly. That is funny.
I just think it's like that. You just need to kind of put yourself into it and just let it come. Whether you want to like write poetry that rhymes, or if you just want to go like Edgar Allan Poe to make really obscure rhymes or no rhyming at all, you should just do it. Do it to put your heart into it. It's something that, you know, like I said, I think it definitely helped me in high school taking like writing classes and shit, because there were like some things I never thought about, like some certain methods. Maybe if I remember them, I'll talk to it with you guys at some point in the podcast. But yeah, there's just so many like good ways of writing, and you can do it any way. It's kind of like a paintbrush with words. Like you can slap it all over the canvas, don't really matter, because at the end you may or may not get a masterpiece.
Exactly, which is a great way of putting it too. And that's why really, like I said, you were that inspiration, because I'd written a few songs here and there. You know, I play guitar, nothing good, not at all. But I'd written a few things, you know, and didn't put much thought into it. But when I would come over to your house, you know, that 10th through 11th grade, 12th grade period, and you'd be like, oh, you know, I'm writing this, blah, blah, blah. And you were a little reserved about it at first, but then I started asking, and you'd start showing me a lot, all of it, honestly. And then I'd start flipping through it, and I was like, oh damn, you know, this motherfucker can write some shit. I can write some fucking shit too, you know.
Now that I'm out of high school, I'm in that roadblock period of everything. Like I said earlier, it sounds like an angsty teen and shit like that. And it's like I'm recycling the same words and shit. That's why I want to actually read dictionaries and shit.
I understand that.
Do it, pull an Eminem move and just fucking like read the dictionary every night.
Why not, man? Honestly, and I noticed that with my themes. My themes always come back to the same things: insanity, madness. You know, I'm so crazy, I'm losing my mind. Like,
we'll ask Gutter about this when we get him on the podcast because he can vouch for my lyrics being just so fucking repetitive and shit. And I'm trying to break out of it, but it's like. The other guitarist, he was telling me, you know, it's the fact that you're trying to make every song sound deep or to put a meaning behind it. It doesn't always have to be like that, and that's the box I'm trying to fucking claw my way out of is just like repetition and, you know, the same old shit, different air freshener, all that.
That's a great way of him putting it, though. That is actually really wise, honestly, because even like...
And it's something I knew, but it's something I needed reminded of, you know what I mean?
It's funny you say that too, because that's kind of like therapy. Yeah, in a sense, you know the shit that they're telling you, but you don't integrate it. You don't implement it.
You don't want to accept it. You don't want to accept what they're analyzing of you.
Exactly. You try to kind of like repress it, and you pull back from them, and you don't want to accept that, even though they're telling you exactly what you need to know. You need to do. You just need that like outside assurance in a sense.
I went to therapy once. But in all fairness, it was when I was 12 after my parents separated. I won't get too into detail. I'm not going to, you know, exploit privacy or shit like that. But my mom took me to therapy. And, you know, just, it was a bad time around that time. I never, like, you know, got into self-harm or anything like that. But I got taken to therapy here in town, actually, at some location. I can't remember even the place it is. Okay. I think it's actually right behind the funeral home. But
I think it's the same place I was at.
Oh, is it?
I think so, yeah.
But you walk in, it's kind of like a living room.
Yep, that's funny, badass.
But did you have the guy therapist?
I did. The old man or younger guy?
I think it was dude probably like his early, mid-40s.
Oh, see, I had an old, like 67-year-old man. Really cool dude, though.
I would say, I got to give the dude who was trying with me some credit. He was nice. I can't remember. I don't think he was trying to pry too much, you know. First therapy session, they're not going to pry too hard into you. They're just asking you basic questions. But I don't know. I just didn't think personally at that point in my life it was for me. Like, you know, I may go back to therapy later down the line for some random shit. But personally right now, I don't think I need it. But, yeah, when I was taken there, it was just like I didn't want to be there. I didn't have any use for telling this guy my problems because one thing I always hated hearing was that patient confidentiality because you knew if you were a minor, they would go tell your parents everything.
Oh, instantly.
And it's like, no, this is something I have to deal with. Like, even from a young age of like 12, 13 years old, that was my mindset. I have to be the one to deal with this.
Exactly. Like, I get that too. That's where I balance. Actually, even like with when I started going to therapy and everything, which actually really recently, only a couple months ago. Fucking crazy. No, I'm kidding. But
age restricted.
yeah. But I actually only went like 3, 4, 5 times, and then I quit going too, which is actually really bad. And people, if any of you guys need a therapist, go to therapy. Don't blow it off. It's not bullshit. But
depends on the therapy you go to.
Definitely depends on the therapist. As long as they're actually like have a doctorate in psychology or something like that. Or
fuck them Freudian psychologists.
To a point. I do.
Not everything revolves around a sexual attraction to parents, Freud.
But some stuff does.
Some stuff
does. Yeah.
Some stuff for some people will. But like
not everything.
But that's the problem. Like when learning about psychology in Mr. Collins' class, he was talking about Freud and all that, and that was like his main thing was everything was related to like sexual attraction. Like if it was a boy, it was sexual attraction to the mom, or if it was a daughter, the sexual attraction to the dad. And it's like it's not always like that. It really isn't. It's like, yeah, you have this underlying, issue of being attracted to so and so, and it's like, no, no.
And
I witnessed a shooting. I didn't actually witness it. I'm just giving an example. But it's like, I know, man, I witnessed a shooting. It's like, yeah, but have you ever looked at your mother seductively? It's like, what the fuck kind of psychology is this?
Yeah, I get that,
And like he said, not all of them. Not all of them are like that, but that's like the basis of that part of psychology, the Freudian psychology, and it's just something I don't agree with. Because, some things, like if you are a person that has had those thoughts, then yeah, obviously it applies to you, but a lot of people don't.
Exactly.
Like,
and my thing, where Collins was wrong, and he's gonna call me out on this one too. I guess I probably shouldn't say his name either, actually, but he overgeneralized too much. So like with psychoanalytical psychology, he kind of liked to just pass it off as, oh, this is bullshit. He wouldn't say it obviously like that, but he'd just say, oh, we don't take that seriously. And it's like, no, you're wrong. Because there's a lot of really good psychoanalytical psychologists. One of the most important people in psychology, Carl Jung, I mean Freud himself, were psychoanalytical psychologists. Freud's the one that developed psychoanalytical psychology, and Jung refined it. There's a great quote. I heard it from Jordan Peterson. I don't remember if it was him or if he was saying this, quoting somebody else, but it was, Freud got so much right that all there was left to critique him on was what he was wrong on. The understanding of the unconscious mind and the id and certain factors with the ego and certain things like this. Like, Freud was spot on. He was so good with so many theories and things that he developed that you just can't touch him. So people are just going after, like, the shit that...
Yeah, like I was saying, like, they're going after the stuff where I was saying, like, the attraction towards family or something like that. That's always what I was taught in high school. That's why I have such like this biased opinion on Freud, because that's all I heard about him.
It's because that's all they want to focus on.
That's all they want to focus on is his analytic studies of, oh yeah, you're probably attracted to your mom since you were like 5, and it's like, I don't get that.
Yeah, it is bullshit.
Like, like I said, a lot of people probably do get that, and that psychology probably works for them. But it's like, not everyone. But, you just have to decide on what psychologist you got to go to.
Exactly. And, actually, I won't say who. I'll tell you afterwards. But I know of people that do have, like, actual Oedipal complexes, and that is fucked up. It's messed up. I'll tell you about it afterwards. But, kind of going back a bit, like, if you need therapy, you need to go, I mean, hands down. And, like, for me, I would just say it's not necessarily for me, but it's also at the same time, that's my rejection of, like, possibly I'm getting too close to something that I don't want to know, so it's my self-defense of like, oh, I don't want to know, so I'm just not going, I'm skipping out, and I need to go back, because I actually really like my therapist. I'm not going to say his name. Great guy, really smart, and that's what I need, because I've got so many, like, theories and bullshit ideas and things that I think about and read about and shit like this, you know what I mean? Sometimes you literally just need somebody to, like, slap you and be like, you're just talking nonsense.
Wake up, bitch.
Exactly, yeah. Come and, like, snap back to reality, but it's true, though. You need somebody to do that. And I found that partially when I was in college, and that was another beautiful realm. I absolutely love the education, the academic realm. But to be able to have somebody like that, especially when it comes to psychology, because I'm so interested in psychology, and it helps to bounce off like an actual doctor, somebody that knows what they're talking about. Doctor in psychology, not a medical doctor. But yeah, I would just say, do as I say, don't do as I do. That's my own personal struggle, I should be going, but I teeter on the lines of, oh, it's bullshit, oh, it's not, oh, it's bullshit, but not psychology and therapy as a whole, just particular ideas and things, which comes down to the therapists themselves, like you said.
Yeah, it just depends on the therapist you go to. Yes, if you need therapy, go. I know this sounds dark, but go before it's too late. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I haven't reached that point yet of needing therapy for anything that major, but if you do, that is okay, and fuck anyone that judges you for needing to go to therapy.
Yeah, for real. That is fucked up, too. People that are like, even people that just make fun of mental illness, like, don't get me wrong, I get it. Of all people, I get it. I've made fun of a lot of stuff I shouldn't have made fun of.
Yeah,
you know?
me too.
And there's a difference of like making light of something, being a little humorous, to just like full blown like making fun of something that somebody can't
berating
control.
someone.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And that's coming from like, my dad is diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. He's diagnosed with bipolarism. He's, got the anxiety, the depression. My mom has PTSD. She's got anxiety. She's got depression. My dad has agoraphobia. It's like, essentially what it actually, have you watched Shameless?
No, I haven't.
Oh, damn, that's too bad. They have a perfect example of it in there. Essentially what it is somebody that's afraid to leave their house.
Oh, okay. Kind of like a shut-in, you know what I mean? In a way.
Yeah, exactly. The result is being a shut-in because they're afraid to leave. A lot of it, typically, agoraphobic people are women, and a big common fear with agoraphobics are having a heart attack on an elevator. So, like something really embarrassing happening in public or something out of your control that
like when you pass out at the gas station.
Fuck you.
I'm not even bringing that up to be...
No. I'm joking. That's actually a perfect example. That's so funny.
Or, like, I'll even throw an example out there for me. We were doing belt testing for martial arts, and... we were being driven as hard as we could. You can't tell with my man tits. But, like, we were, being driven as hard as we possibly could to, just keep pushing. Like, we never stopped moving that entire testing. And it got to the point where I wasn't hydrated enough. And I started seeing black fucking spots.
Oh.
And my dad was in that class with me. Like, he was, in the class. Like, he wasn't sitting watching. He actually joined after I did. And he caught me. And then asked, so-and-so, because I'm not going to say his name, but he was like, "Can I move, sir?" Because we were in, like, standing formation, like, we couldn't fucking move at all. Yeah. And he caught me. I was like, "Can I move, sir?" And he was like, "By all means." By all means.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Because if he hadn't caught me, I would have smashed my fucking head on the wall mirror they had there.
Damn.
Because I was, like, right on the end, and I was like, I couldn't even stand. I had no motor skills. I fucking, like, blacked out for, like, a good 10 seconds, I think.
So, like, the same thing. Yeah, exactly. And that was a joking fuck you. I didn't really
I know.
Yeah. But, yeah, that is a crazy-ass experience. We'll bring that one up in a different... That gives us more stories for future reference. Yeah. But, yeah, there's some crazy stuff out there in the realm of the mind, man. There really is. And I think this is another good, like, lead into our name, Psychonauts.
Yeah.
I mean, a psychonaut is more or less especially referred to people that take psychedelics, indulge in psychedelics, and enter into those realms. I finally caught up with where I was going to go with that when we were talking about God. I'll get back into it. But yeah, a psychonaut is typically somebody that indulges in psychedelics, but the way that I see it is just somebody that explores the furthest depths of their mind. I mean, because even the book, The Way of the Psychonaut, written by I can't think of his name. Stanislav Grof. He's a European psychiatrist, and he's done so much research on psychedelics. One of the leading experts on psychedelics, and psychedelic therapy over in Europe. But he also dips into like holotropic breathwork, which is essentially like the Wim Hof method. We were talking about pranayama and all that. We entered into that realm in the last podcast, and he looks at it from an actual an academic standpoint and how you can view this scientifically. But I just thought that was a pretty good bridge point to our actual name with the Psychonauts. It comes in, because that's definitely something that's going to pop up a lot, is talking about the mind and psychology and different realms and states of pathological disturbance, if you want to put it that way. Now, kind of way backtracking on this one, where we lost our point earlier, I knew it was going to come back. To me, we were talking about monotheism and polytheism and atheism and agnosticism and all of that good stuff, and LaVeyan Satanism and all of that. The one thing that I can say, because as you were stating, you can't say my God trumps your God, nothing like that. You can't say any religion is right, or that any religion comes closer to the marker point than any other one. But the reason I would say that I see the theistic model holding up better than the atheistic model. And this is not even, it's hard to say, and it's hard to balance those out because it's not objective reality, it's subjective reality. But the reason that I can say I come from more of a theistic standpoint is because of the experiences I've had with psychedelics.
Yeah,
really, yeah, hands down.
I'm sad to say I haven't hit that point yet of like, finding the, what someone who hasn't gotten there yet called the spiritual realm of like psychedelics. I haven't like done enough to get to that point or, warrant even my advice for it.
Which is completely understandable, and I get that. And even I have barely dipped into the realms. I mean, realistically, there's a lot out there, and it's because it's horrifying.
Yeah.
There's no denying that it's absolutely horrifying. It's absolutely some of the most ecstatic pleasure and ecstasy that you'll experience in your life, but it's also some of the most terrifying, anxiety-ridden moments at the same exact time. And that flops back and forth between the two in the moment. It's quite odd. But it's always beneficial, even when it's, to that scary, anxiety-ridden point, it's still beneficial. There's benefits that come from it. And I guess it's a great way to throw it out there, but yeah, I would definitely say, and at least me personally, I'm a huge advocate for psychedelics, and I know you definitely, told the line also. And it's definitely a subject that's going to pop up a lot. Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I love psychedelics. Psychedelics are fucking amazing and should be legal everywhere, but on top of psychedelics, I'm going to go out on the limb and be this guy that says I think all drugs should be legal.
I agree. Oregon,
not because I want people to, start shooting heroin or snorting coke or anything like that, but if it's a legal substance, they would more or less try to get you the help you need rather than lock you in a cement prison for being a non-violent drug offender.
Exactly.
Like, why should someone, like, carrying, like, a few grams of pot, or someone who's, like, ODing on coke and the ambulance comes, like, they're gonna sentence that dude for possession and drug use. But why would we do that? We can save this human. We don't have to throw them away into the prison system and let another soul be lost like that.
Yep, free prison labor. I mean, I hate to be completely conspiratorial about it, but they're trying to build a prison, man.
Yeah.
They're trying to build a motherfucking prison, and
That System of a Down reference.
Yeah, I gotta have it. But realistically, that's what it comes down to. They're taking nonviolent drug offenders, people that didn't do anything at all that has any malevolence, realistically, except maybe towards themselves, which is not a crime. And throwing them into prison and making them hardened criminals. We've had a pattern of doing this since the 60s, since the war on drugs. I mean, we've made, I would guarantee it's in the millions, the amount of people that we've turned into hardened criminals just from throwing them in for something that isn't even wrong in the first place.
Exactly. The war on drugs is such a bullshit fucking lie because it was started during the Vietnam War and the time segregation was starting to happen, or desegregation. Desegregation was starting to happen, and the Black Panther movement was like, really pushing forward in the United States. And the only reason that pot even became illegal, and I'm pretty sure you know this story, it's a couple things. I can't remember the dude's name. I should know this dude's name.
Are you going way back, or are you going with the one that said about hippies and black people?
Well, I'll get to that one,
okay.
But it was the dude that pushed that movement onto the administration. I
think you're thinking of Harry J. Anslinger.
I'm
possibly.
I don't think so. I may be wrong, but it was the dude who had the paper industry.
Oh, the DuPont paper company?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was scared because, hemp was going to be this brand new thing. It was new on the market in the 60s. It was only known as, Mexican tobacco, wasn't it? Or wasn't it?
It was, and
that's what they called it.
I hate to cut you off.
You're good.
Just for the fact of everything we're talking about, I want to push that back, because the time you're talking, if I remember correctly, and I'm going to have to do the research and get back to this, I believe it's even farther, like the 30s and 40s at that point.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, we're talking like Reefer
Reagan,
Madness.
But the Nixon administration.
Okay, yeah.
Is what. Like, he was, in the 40s, he was the one that kickstarted. But the Reagan administration is what pushed it forward because of this guy. Because he said that illegal immigrants and black people were smoking this pot and it was making them, you know, rape people, kill people, and all that stuff just to protect his, you know, industry of cutting down trees because you can get like so much more paper from cannabis than you ever could like an acre of trees.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
like an acre of cannabis. So you get twice the amount, I think. Don't quote me on that. Do your own research on that.
Yeah.
But and when you get to the Nixon era, when you get to the Nixon era, you had his advisor, I believe, that had a quote. It was like, we knew the war on drugs, you know, wasn't the right thing to do, but we did it so we could raid the hippie communities because they were anti-war for Vietnam. So they were using pot to raid hippie communes and get those leaders out that were, you know, advertising the no war propaganda.
Yeah.
I hate calling it propaganda because the no war protests.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Anti-Vietnam War protests. And then they were trying to deconstruct the Black Panther movement by doing the same thing because they said that only black people and hippies were the main users of marijuana. So they could go into their communities, take out the hippies and take out the Black Panther leaders, and then, you know, they would all fall apart, and then, you know,
which is
the war keeps going.
Completely unethical.
Oh no, it's
yeah,
bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely.
The whole drug war is founded off of complete racism, and you can fact check that. I wish I remembered names. I have our editor put the quote on the screen. But maybe next episode I'll do some research and we'll touch back on it.
And I can't quite think. It had been DuPont. I can't think of what his first name or anything like that was. There was multiple conflicting things that were happening at that point in time, and obviously, like you were saying, the textile industry was a huge thing with the paper, and then clothing and certain things along those lines. It is so much easier to mass produce with hemp. Even now we're finally catching up to that and actually utilizing that properly. But then the other huge factor during the Reefer Madness era as well was Harry J. Anslinger, who was, I don't believe, the head of the FBI. I believe it was Herbert Hoover was still the head of the FBI at that point in time. And Harry J. Anslinger was something with the FBI. I don't know. It's been a long time since I've looked into this, so I'm definitely fucking this up. But either way, I remember his name, and what ended up happening was right at the end of the Prohibition era, the Prohibition on alcohol, then what they were doing is they didn't, I hate what I'm doing. Cut this part out, but at the end of the Prohibition era, when, they were done banning alcohol and there was no longer all these jobs for all these people that were going around and looting these stills, and you see pictures online, they'll take like giant axes and they're chopping into these barrels and all this liquor's going all over the place. And so when they finally legalized alcohol and brought it back to the point where everyday people could purchase it, all of these people in the government, they had no jobs. They had nothing to do.
Nope.
So what they did was they started the Reefer Madness era. The term marijuana isn't actually, it's a racist term that they applied to cannabis when it was coming over, because they were saying, like you were touching on, that it was the Mexican tobacco. All these Mexicans were bringing it over, and it makes them, rape women, it makes them violent and all of this.
Which, a disclaimer, it does not. That's not at all what we're advertising.
Not at all, not at all.
So.
But that's where the term marijuana itself comes from. That's why I almost never use it. I try to say cannabis as much as possible, honestly.
Good idea.
And then that was another huge factor at that point in time that pushed that, and that's essentially where the DEA came from, the Drug Enforcement Agency, is all of these motherfuckers that were just out of jobs, so they had to have something for them to do.
Exactly.
Which is, again, fucked up.
And we're not trying to be PC when we're saying we don't like to say marijuana. Like, I hate PC culture to an extent.
Same.
To
an extent, yeah.
There's a lot of things I understand about PC culture, but a lot of things are kind of ridiculous.
Their heart's in the right place, but they don't use their mind.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's really sad because they could definitely be making a difference with the voice they have if they were to put it towards something that, actually mattered rather than a plastic potato.
Or Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Legalization and decriminalization. Okay.
Okay.
All right, and
Here you go, Alex.
so one of the other things, like you were saying, how all drugs should be legalized, I definitely agree with that for multiple reasons. So you've got Oregon right now, which is going to be the first case study, realistically. They just decriminalized all drugs, which is a great start, I believe.
First case study in this country.
In this
Because
country,
I believe
yeah.
Brazil did this a while ago, and their economy boomed because of it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because they made drugs to the point where you could buy them in stores, but if you got to the point where you needed help, you could go there and not get arrested.
Exactly, which is awesome.
Yep.
And it would be so great if we could get to that point, because even in Oregon, it's just decriminalized. It's not completely legalized at that point. So essentially, all it comes down to is that distribution is still illegal. So like cartel people and big drug dealers that are actually like fucking people's lives up, like they're still going to jail. But if you just get caught with possession, a minor possession charge, they're not going to send you to jail anymore. They're going to give you a fine, and then they're going to give you like resources to go to rehabilitation centers and things like that.
Which I think is what's needed in this country.
Exactly, and
we're overflowing with the prison population. Like we're getting more fucking fence gate than we have parks in this fucking country.
Yeah, absolutely, and
it's bad.
It goes back to making criminals out of innocent people. It really does, and that's the cool thing. Even the fine that they slap on them, it just goes right back into the rehabilitation centers, which is a smart thing to do, which provides access to the people that don't have access to the tools that they need to overcome their addictions. It's a beautiful case model, but the argument for legalization, full legalization, to be able to sell in the stores like Brazil, like you're talking about, if you think about it, that provides a clean source. And as bad as that is, like obviously,
I know people nowadays not trusting scientists, but if you're gonna get something like that to put in your body, I'd say give them the nod.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. And that's the crazy thing. Like obviously that's like the argument of, well, I get my Coke from my parents because I know it's good. You know what I mean? It kind of sounds like that, but you got to look at it from a logistic standpoint. I mean, you're not gonna have half the amount of overdoses if you have a clean source that these people can get from, that the dosage is right, it's going to be right, it's going to be proper every time, dosage is right, it's clean, you don't have like the problems with fentanyl. Fentanyl is huge. That's popping up as a problem in cocaine, heroin, meth, everywhere. It's getting, even cannabis I've seen, people have been lacing it with fentanyl and stuff like that, and it's absolutely ridiculous. So that would be
disgusting.
It's disgusting completely.
Like
that's morally degrading.
Like you're taking this plant that's some people may start smoking because they think it's going to help with anxiety, but you don't know that it's actually going to fucking kill you because it's fucking laced with fentanyl. And you got these shitty ass fucking drug dealers that are just like, haha, this will be fun. Let's put some fentanyl in this. I'll be the best, pot seller on the fucking market. And it's like, no, you're killing people. Like, even though you think you're just, selling pot, you are killing people doing that.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
And, and that's with all the drugs that are laced with, like, fentanyl. Or, like, if you get fucking crack laced pot, shit like that. Anything laced.
Yeah.
And
that was my next point.
Yeah. That's why I hope if you're living in an unlegalized state yet, I hope it gets legal soon so you don't have to keep, buying shady. You can just go to your nearest dispensary. They're more expensive, but you know where they come from. If you're gonna do it safe.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the other point I was gonna make too is people lacing shit. Like if you've ever laced anything and you haven't told somebody, you're a piece of shit.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, like hands down, that's so fucked up. You cannot do that. And it doesn't matter what it is. I don't care if it's something that's barely gonna do anything. You don't do that. That's fucked up.
I don't know what these shoes are laced with, but I've been tripping all day.
Yeah, you sound like me. But yeah, I think that's decent ground we covered. We did get lost. We kind of came around there. We caught up. There was a slow reverberating pace there. It didn't come back as fast as I wished it would have, but we did kind of come around. I think we crossed some good ground, talking about a lot of random ass shit, ancient structures and psychedelics, and the good stuff that we always get into. And then on top of that, a little bit more of the direction and how we're gonna tweak up the podcast and certain little things. Our foundation, how we met, all that good stuff. I'd say we touched on some good information today.
Yeah, we did. More stories to come too. So tune in.
Yeah.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Wink, wink.
Damn right.
Am I winking right? Am I doing it with one eye? Yeah, I'm good. How you doing? But
yeah.
I say I don't want to be that dude that says wink, winking, blinks.
Wink, wink. Yeah. I'll wink something else for you.
It blows my mind that some people can't wink.
I know, me too. I think they're lying when they tell me that.
Yeah,
I really do. Yeah. Like I'm like, fuck you, bullshit motherfucker.
Like, how can you not close one eye at a time? It's weird.
It is so odd.
Although a lot of people are like, they look at me and are like, you can't whistle? And I'm like, fuck no, I can't whistle.
True.
I have no idea how to whistle. And it pisses me off because it's so simple.
That is nuts.
Yeah, fuck you.
That is nuts. I'll try and teach you somehow. But that's like I guess I shouldn't say his name. A mutual friend of ours, one of the twins. Maybe both of them, but I think just one of the twins.
Do their last names start with Z?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Can move their ears though.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like, and that's something that's probably like so simple to him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like to us, it's like, how the fuck can you do that? It makes
some weird shit.
No sense at all.
It's cool as fuck.
It is awesome. But I think I'm satisfied with the product we got. If you're ready to sign off.
Yeah, I think we're good. We're gonna try to do this, weekly. We're gonna start recording on Fridays, and we haven't decided on an upload schedule yet, so just tune in weekly.
Yeah. Keep up with this, motherfuckers. And hopefully social media coming soon, so we'll let you know on there too.
Yep.
Awesome.
So, alright.
Peace out!
Peace out.